Hello, everybody. Let's go with the chat, baby. We're live. We're talking fantasy. It's very exciting. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch. We are live on Instagram. And we are live on TikTok. All right. Let's see what we got here, guys. Last day before week 17. Eli Hits Bombs is here, everybody. Very excited to have Eli join us. Eli, what's your question? Come on, we got 2 games tomorrow. We got a game on Thursday. We got games on Saturday. We have games every day, but today and Friday, help Mahomes or AR against the Giants for the ship. I would go Anthony Richardson. I think Steelers are going to bring a lot of heat on Mahomes. They want to win. They're mad. They lost last week, and apparently Pickens is playing, so their offense is going to be a little bit better. I don't know if it's going to be leaps and bounds. Baker or Love? Let me look that one up. That game last night was pretty much a joke. Yeah, I would go AR. All right, thanks, B. Yeah, I'd go Baker Mayfield. Yeah, against Carolina, that's a great matchup for him. So I'd go Baker Mayfield. I mean, Carolina is better offensively, but let's just see. Against quarterbacks, the Panthers are 24th, so it's a good matchup. Mixon or Terry McLaurin for flex. Okay, here's the deal. Chef Chowder, I knew I would get a Mixon question. Mixon has not been putting up points. Hey, sick ass is here. Hey, sick ass, I'll get you next. Let me just get this Mixon question. McLaurin has been putting up points. Mixon has not. Tank Dell is out now. Are they going to use Mixon in the pass game more? I'm not 100% sure. I do know that Baltimore is very tough against the run. So Mixon is going up against a defense that's pretty close to the Kansas City defense against the run that we saw last week. Hey, and Z's is here. All right, Z's. Thank you. I just noticed that. I'll get to sick as, and then I'll go to Z's. But I would, okay, here's the deal. I would go with McLaurin because Mixon has not been putting up really good points, and McLaurin has. Even last week against Philadelphia, he did much better than I had even thought that he would. Let me just see. They go up against Atlanta, and Atlanta against the pass. Let's just look that up real quick. They are 21st, so it's a good matchup for McLaurin as well. All right, let's get the sick ass. Addison's, Jennings, Myers, Tracy, Flex. Okay, Myers has not been putting up points. Jennings is extraordinarily inconsistent. Tracy is not a bad go for this, but he's injured and may not play. And it might be Singletary sick as. So Addison, I think, is the only healthy one. Now, I'm not saying 100% that you should go with them. Let me just look them up real quick. Addison. We got Addison. Myers. I'm just going to put Myers in before I put Jennings. Let's see, 1, 2. Tracy. Yeah, so be careful. I mean, Tracy's not a bad pick, honestly, but he is listed as questionable. Something's going on with my computer now. Hold on. Myers. My computer's glitching. I apologize for this. My bud. my buddy. Sick ass. All right. Let's just see. Yeah, they're picking the experts picked Tyrone Tracy, but like I said, he is listed as questionable, I believe. Let me double check that though. And he has a pretty good matchup against Indianapolis. I mean, they're 14th against the run, but all right. Z's, I'll get to you next, I promise. I'm working on sick ass heat. I'm working through the people who have gifted. Then all right. Let's just see here. We have all right. Okay, I would go Tracy if he's able to play. If he doesn't play, then it's a question of are you comfortable putting Singletary in, who actually started the season as a number one running back for the Giants? You can do that if you can pick him up, but I don't know if you can pick him up. If he doesn't go, if Tracy doesn't go, and you can't get Singletary, or you don't feel comfortable with him running, then I would pick up. Then I would play Jordan Addison. You might want to pencil in Jordan Addison right now in case Tracy doesn't play, and you can always make that switch later, sick ass. But I would go Tracy would be my number one, but then I would go Addison as number two. Hey Nathaniel, thanks for joining. So yeah, that's how I would go there. Okay, Z's. Hey, what's up? What's the best defense for the rest of the season? Dolphins, Eagles, or Colts? Well, the Colts have a good matchup this week. You have 3 defenses? Wow. That's a lot. Yeah. Indianapolis plays the Giants. I think that's a good matchup for this week. Do you have to make it for the rest of the year? And then let's see. Let me just see here. Colts, Eagles. Colts, Eagles, Dolphins. I'm just getting through the folks that have gifted me, everybody. So hang on, the Eagles play Dallas. That's a good matchup too. But I mean, Cooper Rush has been much more effective than we all thought he would. And McLaurin showed that, and Daniels showed that you can pass against Philadelphia. It might be tough, but you can pass against them. I'm more inclined to go with Indianapolis, but you're asking for the rest of the season. Yeah, and see, I would go Philly because they play Dallas. If you have to go for the rest of the season, I would go Philly because they play Dallas, and then week 18 they play the Giants. So they have that great matchup week 18. So that's why I would pick them the rest of the season. But for this coming week, I would go with Indianapolis. But I know that's not necessarily what you're asking. All right, let's see. Just off waivers. Wait, was depends who you have on waivers. In the championship, thanks for all your help. Hey, no problem, Chris. Thanks for being a subscriber and supporting the channel. I only have Vikings. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I would go Philadelphia. I can't believe someone doesn't have Philadelphia. Yeah, the Vikings have a tough schedule. I wouldn't use their defense so much. Let's see here. I think Jack Jide. Herbert, Rogers, Wilson, May, Locke, Young. Who should I pick? Okay, Jack. Sort of like my regular philosophy is I'm not going to look up 5 players. You got to narrow that down for me. Okay. I wouldn't necessarily go with Rodgers. I'm leaning towards Herbert. Wilson never has big games. Locke is not going to be any good. Probably. I mean, he hasn't been. Young, May, and Herbert is who I would look up. I could look those guys up, but that's what I would narrow it down to. First of all, when you give me 5 names, I know you don't have 5 quarterbacks on your team. So I'm just looking up people you think you're going to get. Herbert. Yeah, all the experts picked Justin Herbert over Bryce Young and Drake May. I would probably say the same. They're going up against New England. It's a favorable matchup. New England against quarterbacks, just so you know. Well, the Patriots are actually number 2 against quarterbacks. Well, you don't want that. Who might have a more favorable matchup? Okay, Herbert or Young. So let's look up Young real quick. It's not a bad one. Young goes up against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay against quarterbacks is probably better than we think. They're 12th. So it's a more favorable matchup for Young. Tampa Bay gives up 20 points even to quarterbacks on average over the last 4 weeks. The Patriots give up 7.2. So they're going to be a little tougher. Let's just see what they do against wide receivers, because that's essentially where quarterbacks outside of rushing, where they get their points. Patriots are number 1, so it's just an all-around tough matchup for them. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, against wide receivers is 17. I'm leaning towards Young based on the matchup. Now, Herbert is a great quarterback, and you know that he can always go above and beyond those numbers, but you just never know. All right. Where are we at with everything? Gabriel Sampson. Nathaniel's weird when you give me 5 names. I know you don't have 5 quarterbacks on your team, so I'm just looking up people you think you're going to get. Nathaniel is weird. Wow, brothers going at it. I like to see that though. That's what having a family is all about, right? Having brothers that disrespect you on social media. All right, let's see here. Wow, we are not getting huge numbers on this program. I think I'm down to 1 viewer on TikTok. All right, Z's, what other questions do you have? Invite anybody you can. And wow, I might have to go back to my phone, or maybe 2 computers, which I was trying to avoid. This restream stuff is the last couple times I've been on, I've gotten like no viewers. Oh my God, I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to go back to 2 computers. I know I'm whining, but it's such a pain in the rear end. Oh well, I might have to do it. All right, guys, I think I'm going to jump off and then try to set myself back up so that I'm on TikTok by itself and then I'm on the other channels, because right now I'm just not getting anything. And it's so Z's, I'll be back on in like 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes. All right, Nathaniel, Gabriel, I'll be back on in like 5 minutes, guys. Actually, you know what I could probably do? I could end on TikTok. Yeah. So I'm still on everything else. I'm going to jump on TikTok on my other computer, which I was hoping I didn't have to do anymore, but it's all about these algorithms, and if you're not on the algorithm right, you don't do well. So let me just boot up my computer. Let me know, guys, if you're on right now, what is your dog's name? It's Daisy. My dog is a female, and her name is Daisy, and she is very, very, very sweet. She would not protect me if there was a robber in the house. She'd probably end up like licking the robber and letting the robber pet her. She is very sweet. So she's not a very good guard dog, but she's always happy to see people too. So, which throws a lot of people off. All right, let's see. What other questions? Don't forget to hit that like button. Let me know what fantasy questions everybody has. We have a few more people online, so let me know what fantasy questions you have. All right. I think I'm doing this right. Come on. Am I on the right thing? All right. You're the best. No, you're the best, dude. Don't forget to hit that like. Don't forget to hit subscribe on YouTube or Twitch or anything else that you might be on, although it's mostly people from YouTube because I have really no presence on anything else. So, oh, of course, TikTok has to download something on my computer, so that's going to delay everything even more. Yay for me. Anybody watch that game last night? That was a complete blowout. That game was over at halftime, huh? Oh, you're trying to get your grandparents to get you the t-shirt? Yeah, baby. It's only like $25 with tax and shipping, so it's not that expensive. And I'm not just saying that. Like, if you go someplace and you buy a t-shirt, I mean, unless you go to Walmart, I mean, t-shirts are $20. 25 bucks. Who's got fantasy questions? We got a bunch of people online. Let me know what your fantasy questions are. I'm waiting to jump on TikTok on a computer here. Yeah, that was a really boring game, especially if you're a Saints fan. That was a bad game. Now, if you were a Green Bay fan, you'll probably loved it. It's funny how that works. It's boring for all of us, but if you're a Green Bay fan, you probably loved it because, teams don't usually do that. You could get me to autograph the shirt, but it would probably blur after a couple washes. So just get the t-shirt. I could I could sign an 8x10 for you though, Nathaniel, if I had an 8x10. Nobody wants my autograph, which is fine. With a face like this. All right, who has fantasy questions? We have people online, which is awesome. I love it. Of course, they're probably all of Nathaniel's sock accounts, but I love it. But I'm sure. Hey, Gabriel sent. You're a big bombo clat. Thank you. All right. Hey, did you win, Gabriel? Did you win your game? I'm assuming you did. Weren't you up by a ton? Like you came on, like you got the right players, dude. Yeah, see, that's my water keeps my throat going. All right, who's got fantasy questions? Come on, guys. I guess everybody jumps on and then jumps off. Thank you, though, Gabe. I really appreciate that. All right, finally getting to TikTok. Let me just get this going. All right, it's still working. All right, if you just joined us, send me your TikTok or send me your fantasy football questions. I'm here to help. What do we got? All right, I got to put this all up. Blah, 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 blah. Still working on TikTok. Joe Mixon or Alvin Kamara? Well, Gabe, Alvin, I think, is still hurt. So you have to go Joe Mixon, but Joe Mixon has not been putting up good points lately. And he has a tough matchup like he did last week when he played Kansas City. He has a tough matchup against Baltimore. So I look, if you have to play Joe Mixon, I totally get it. I think Alvin Kamara is hurt. That's why Kendre Miller keeps playing for the Saints. I think Alvin Kamara is like probably not going to return this season. They have nothing to play for, so they're not going to put him in. Or Nathaniel's got some questions. All right. Let me see how close am I to TikTok before Nathaniel's questions. He's going to inundate me. Let's see. All right. I'll be live on TikTok in just a few here. I know everybody's head topic. Oh, we got that. I'm going live on TikTok. Don't look up what that means. Yeah, don't worry about it. Burrow or Daniels? Well, who does Burrow play? I should know this. Burrow plays Denver. Denver against quarterbacks. Denver against quarterbacks is pretty bad. They're 31st. I would go Burrow. Because who does Daniels play? They play Atlanta. Atlanta, though, against quarterbacks is actually 11th. It's a much more favorable matchup for Burrow than Daniels. All right, let's see what we got here. Starting on TikTok, we're back on. Who has fantasy questions? Let me know. Pick Dwan, Wilson, Harris, or Jones. You mean Aaron Jones? I would pick Aaron Jones. Juwan Jennings doesn't put up points. Najee Harris doesn't get a lot of points. Aaron Jones puts up a good amount, and Garrett Wilson is all over the place. Hey, Black Dots here on TikTok. Walker, Hubbard, Connor, Mixon. Well, Connor might be hurt. Mixon isn't putting up numbers. Hubbard has a tougher matchup, and Walker doesn't put up good numbers. I mean, you don't have a clear, there isn't. If Connor isn't hurt, and he plays, I would play Connor. But what I read for somebody this morning who was looking at this, and Gabriel, I'll get to you in just a second, was that Connor's probably isn't even going to play. Carter, like the third string running back, is going to play. Okay. So hold on. Where did you go? If you want to go with Mixon, you can, but he's not putting up good points. Hubbard has a tough matchup. And I know you're going to say, you're kidding me, right? But Tampa Bay against the run is actually, over the last 4 weeks, they're number one against the run. And that's why I don't love Hubbard's matchup. They're number one. They give up just 8.2 points. Let me just see what we got. So Miami. Yeah, I would do Buffalo because they play the Jets. Jets are horrible, Gabriel. But who does Miami play? Let me just make sure. Miami plays Cleveland. I think the Jets. Cleveland could be bad. Yeah, I would go Cleveland. I would go Miami because Cleveland, if they start DTR, now if Winston starts, don't start Miami. But if Jameis Winston starts, or if Jameis Winston doesn't start and they start Dorian Thompson Robinson, I would do Miami. He's bad. Otherwise, I would do Buffalo playing the Jets. That should be a good matchup. Okay, we got a lot of questions coming in over here. Beto, what's up? Beto's here. Does he have any questions? Beto's. Nope, I'm not seeing that. Thank you, Beto, for the support, though. Appreciate it. There's only a few more T-shirts. Go to my shop. Okay, Casey, Sam Darnold or Josh Allen? It's hard to root against. It's hard to say no Josh Allen, isn't it? But let's just see. It might be a matchup. But they're going against the Jets. Josh Allen, Sam Darnold. Yeah, Darnold goes up against Green Bay. Green Bay and the Jets against quarterbacks. Let's just look that up real quick. Green Bay is 6th. The Jets are 8th. Actually, Green Bay's tied for 6th. The Jets are tied for 8th. It's 18.4 and 18.5. So it's virtually the same. So if I was going to have to go with a quarterback, I would always go with Josh Allen because he can score a touchdown or two with his feet, which gives you always 6 points as opposed to the 4 points that you might get with a passing quarterback. All right. Got that. Casey, thank you very much. Start Garrett Wilson or George Pickens. Oh boy. Pickens, who plays Kansas City, or Wilson, who's not been putting up a lot of points. Now, see, the experts picked Garrett Wilson going up against Buffalo. But Wilson. God, hold on. Let me just update this to half PPR. He's had 8, 13, 14, 6. He's been okay, Wilson. All right. He's been okay. Pickens, when he's playing 14, 6, 12, he goes up against Kansas City. See, Kansas City or Buffalo versus the pass. Kansas City. Oh, I got to go to the pass here. Kansas City apparently has improved to tied for 9th against the pass. And Buffalo is 32nd. So Garrett Wilson has a much better matchup according to this. So, except Adams gets all the points. Okay. I think Pickens probably gets you 10 to 13 points. I think he's a good, steady pick. I think Garrett Wilson probably has a lower floor and a higher ceiling than Pickens, meaning Garrett Wilson might get you like 8 points. He might get you 20 points. I think George Pickens probably gets you 10 to 14 points. I think there's a little more risk with Wilson because Adams has been getting the bulk of all the points for the Jets. And so that's my big concern with this. So I hope that helps. I know that it's sort of my cop-out answer, but I don't think there's a clear answer to this one, and I don't want you getting mad at me saying, "Oh, you go with Wilson." Well, I don't think it's that clear. Wilson has not been putting up all the points. Adams has been putting up the points. The matchup is favorable, but does that mean it's just going to be more points for Adams? It could mean that, okay, which I would hate for you to happen. I think George Pickens, though, is going to put up some points against Kansas City. There's a reason he's coming back. Sorry about this. I just forgot to take my caffeine tablet. Otherwise, I'm probably going to get a caffeinated headache. Gabriel's got to go. Sorry, dude. I'm starting DJ Moore and Cooper Kupp. Oh, God, you are? Maybe not a good idea, Gabe. DJ Moore did not have a good game, and Cooper Kupp is not putting up points. Okay, let me go back to TikTok. I believe Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, is what we call Chad Johnson as well. I think Pickens is active tomorrow. I think I got an update with that. And I say I think because I didn't read the whole update because I was setting up to go live. So let me just look and see what information I have. He's not listed as injured anymore. He was a full participant in practice on Tuesday and does not have an injury designation. So it looks like Pickens is going to go. Ocho Cinco, better known as Chad Johnson. Miami D. Well, I like Miami D if Dorian Thompson Robinson is the quarterback. I do like them. I do like that a lot more. Okay. Wait, where did it go? Or if Jameis Winston plays, I don't know that I would go with Miami's D. The Chargers. Who do the Chargers play? The Bolts. They play New England. And that could be a decent matchup for them. Yeah. If Dorian Thompson Robinson quarterbacks go with Miami, if he doesn't, and Winston quarterbacks go with the Chargers. Garrett Wilson has a favorable matchup. However, he's not been getting the points or the targets that Adams has been getting. He has a really good matchup because the Bills are last against wide receivers defensively. Okay, but Cleveland is 31st. And Cleveland plays Miami. So I would probably go with Tyreek just to be safe. Because with Garrett Wilson, my fear is I say, oh, it's a good matchup, go with him. Yeah, I'll accept you. Sideline fans moderator. We got our old buddy Nathaniel on the line. Hey Nathaniel, how you doing, buddy? All right. What's going on? All right, good. Yeah, get them to buy the t-shirt. Okay, Chad Johnson, or Ocho Cinco, as I like to call him, says Pickens or BTJ. I can tell you right now, I really like what BTJ's been doing over the last few weeks. I know that, and they play Tennessee, I believe. So I like what BTJ. Thoughts on that one, Nathaniel? I'm going BTJ over Pickens. I don't think Pickens gets over 13 points or so. You know, against Kansas City's gotten better against wide receivers. They're not great, but they're better, much better than they were just a month ago. But BTJ's been putting up some good points for them. What are your thoughts, Nathaniel? Yeah. And he goes up against Tennessee. I mean, he's BTJ's gotten from week 11 on 11, 16, 12.6, 27, 23, and he plays Tennessee. Let's just see what the Titans are against wide receivers. Now they're probably, yeah, they're number 9. They give up 20.3, but Brian Thomas Jr. has been the target, the number one target for them during this period. So I think he's just kind of a no-brainer. I'm worried about Pickens, number one, not re-injuring himself, okay? And I'm worried about Pickens because they can really target him. There really aren't a lot of receivers that the Steelers have. They've shown that really. And I think Kansas City can load up against Pickens defensively and try to shut him down. That's probably what Spagnuolo's going to do, and put some pressure on Russell Wilson. So, and that's what they did in the second half of their last game on Saturday. Otherwise, Houston game would have been, they might have lost, or it might have been a lot closer. All right, let's look this one up. This is a good one, Nathaniel. Chris asks, start 2, Tracy, Pollard, or Dottle? Tracy, Pollard, or Dottle? What are we thinking here? Any thoughts? Well, first of all, I think Tracy, hold on one second. I'm sorry, Nathaniel. I forgot to add. I think Tracy is questionable. I think he's listed as questionable. So you'll have to monitor that. Otherwise, Singletary will be the starting running back for the Giants. That's the one thing that worries me about these 3 names. Go ahead, Nathaniel. Yeah. I'd start Dottle and Pollard. And if you want to go with Tracy, let me just see. Tracy goes up against Indianapolis. Indianapolis is not that great against the run. I think they're middling. They're 14, so they're okay. Let's just look at matchups here. Philadelphia. Rico has to go against Philadelphia, but he's been putting up pretty good number. I mean, Tampa Bay did shut him down, but here's the thing about Tampa Bay. They do have the number 1 defense against running backs right now, which is somewhat shocking. They give up 8.2 points to running backs on average over the last 4 weeks. Number 2 are the Eagles, and they're 2 points worse at 10.1. So the Buccaneers really do sort of have a shutdown defense against running backs. So for that reason, I would, Philadelphia is tough. It's a tough matchup for Dottle, but you know that he's going to put up his points. Now, Tracy's injury scares me because if he is injured, he won't play. And Singletary, you have to make sure someone doesn't have Singletary. Sometimes people keep him from the beginning of the season and haven't changed their bench. And then Pollard, I would add Pollard as number 1. If you didn't want to put Dottle because of the matchup with Philadelphia, if you're like, hey, they only average 10 points, running backs do against Philadelphia, you could try Tracy. And okay, I'm not adding anybody else right now. I would definitely do Pollard. You could maybe consider Tracy, but I would tend to agree with Dottle and Pollard that Nathaniel said. I would agree with those 2. All right, Josh Cummings asked, Bucky or Chase Brown? Bucky or Chase Brown? I find it hard to get Chase Brown out of a game, but Bucky has been probably putting up a little bit better points. But Chase Brown against Denver, Bucky against Carolina. Let's just see. Denver against running backs and Carolina. Carolina against running backs is 29th. Denver is 20th. So the better matchup is actually with Chase Brown. Wait. Is that right? No. It's against Bucky. Yeah, Bucky. I'm sorry. Bucky has a better matchup because the Panthers give up 25.1 and the Broncos give up 20. So it's a difference of 5 points, which is a big difference. What do you think, Nathaniel? It's going against the experts. The experts pick Chase Brown. I'm saying Bucky Irving. What do you think, Nathaniel? He I mean, he did pretty good. I don't think I mean, he got 12.4. He did pretty good. He didn't do great, but they didn't need him to do great, really. Cleveland's quarterback was just, vacant. Like, he wasn't there. He was awful. And Marino has some roses. So thank you. We'll get to Marino next. So, the way I look at it is Chase Brown is putting up some great numbers. So is Bucky. Andy's healthy. Andy has a better matchup. Any other thoughts? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think Bucky gets more points than Chase Brown. The experts pick Chase Brown. Nathaniel and I pick Bucky. All right. Moreno, start three. Sutton, Judy, Jacoby, Reed, Tyreek, Terry. Okay. Let me just take. Okay. So what he's saying is Sutton, Judy, Jacoby, Myers, Jaden Reed, Tyreek, and Terry. I would go Tyreek and Terry. And here's why. I would maybe consider Sutton. Judy, I would not consider, as long as if DTR is the quarterback, I would not put Judy in. If Jameis Winston is the quarterback, I would put Judy in. Jacoby's not been putting up the numbers. Reed is inconsistent. So I'm assuming that DTR is still the quarterback, starting quarterback for Cleveland. So I'm not going to play Judy. Okay. I'm not going to play Jacoby. He's not putting up numbers. Reed is inconsistent because they pass to everybody. I would go Tyreek and Terry. Terry had a good week. I think, what did Tyreek do? Was he good last week? Did he put up some numbers? I can't. Okay. All right. So Tyreek had I'm just looking here. He had 10 points, so he wasn't great, but I think he has a good matchup though against Cleveland. San Francisco is a pretty tough team defensively, so I would definitely go Tyreek and Terry, and then I would probably go Sutton. But Sutton sort of let everybody down last week. But I think, let me just see. I'm just looking up Sutton's numbers. Yeah, Sutton had 10 against Indianapolis, 7.5 against, but he's going up against Cincinnati. I expect him to have a good game, Sutton, against Cincinnati, because you can throw on them. Let me just see Cincinnati against wide receivers. Oh, they've improved, huh? They're number 5 now. Wow. Where did that come from? I guess they really want to make the playoffs. I'd still go with Sutton though. I think that could be a little bit of a 30-27 game. Any thoughts on that on these players, Nathaniel? Sutton, Judy, Jacoby, Reed, Tyreek, Terry. Go ahead. Okay. Yeah. DTR. Yeah, DTR. Yeah. Yeah. No. Okay. All right. So Nathaniel and I both pick Sutton, Tyreek, and Terry, but we say if Winston starts, you could probably put Judy over Sutton in that regard. But Jacoby and Reed just have not been putting up points consistently over the last few weeks. Jacoby had been, but he had been up until about 2 or 3 weeks ago, but not anymore. Okay, JPS, Love or Goff? Love or Goff? Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I would start Goff. I mean, Jordan Love, obviously, last night, it was a good game. But he only threw for 182, but he didn't really need to do much last night. And the one thing about Love is if you look at his numbers going back to week 12, he's had 14.7, 19, 14.5, 17.6, 11.5. He doesn't put up much over 19 ever. Where Goff, I'm going to look at his stats: 25, 41, 23, 16. He plays San Francisco. Now, San Francisco against quarterbacks is probably pretty decent. Their defense is pretty good. They're number 5, and they give up 18 points to quarterbacks. I think he'll, I still think Goff and that offense that they have, even though Montgomery is injured, they have Jameson Williams, they have St. Brown, so they have two really good wide receivers. They have Laporta at tight end. So yeah, I would still go with Goff. He's been putting up the numbers, and that's what I'm getting behind on that one. So, and anything else? We're gonna ask a defense question. Detroit D or Kansas City D? So the Chiefs versus the Lions in defense. Any thoughts on that one, Nathaniel? Nathaniel? Oh, he's something happened. Okay. Well, the experts are all picking Kansas City. They play Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh probably isn't going to score a lot just because they don't. So I actually think that that's a pretty good matchup. But San Francisco, well, Purdy could throw to Jennings and Debo. So I probably would go with Kansas City on this one. Any thoughts, Nathaniel? Yeah. And the experts pick Kansas City, and I would agree. Yeah, go ahead, Nathaniel. Go ahead. Yep. Gotcha. All right. Let's see here. Mixon or Taylor? I think Dre's asked. Dre's is around a lot. Hello, Dre's. Hope all is well with you on this Christmas Eve. Let's see. What are you thinking? They're saying, they go up against the Giants. You got to go with Jonathan Taylor. Here's the thing with Mixon: the Baltimore is still pretty good against the run, and Mixon has not been putting up good points. Jonathan Taylor had that obviously monster game last week, so I would go Jonathan Taylor going up against the Giants. Yeah, the Giants. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Oh my God, seriously? That's crazy. Oh my God, I should just fly to New York and go to a game then. You can't, I mean, that $8 is like, it's like sitting in the bleachers in the 80s, for a baseball game. All right. So, yeah, the Giants are 24th against running backs. I mean, on paper, this game should be another really good game for Jonathan Taylor. Okay. I'm not saying that he's going to get, 7,800 points, or he's not going to get over 200 yards running, but he should. I mean, he should have 200 yards. He should have 100 yards running, rather. I mean, the Giants give up 21.5 points to running backs over the last 4 weeks on average. So it should be a good game for Taylor. So Dre's, you should feel pretty confident starting him. All right, Dre's another question. He comes around a lot though. Oh, Moreno. Okay, Moreno J Bone. Okay, let's get to the people that have paid because I'm all over the place. And we have somebody over on YouTube, Brees Hall or Jonathan Taylor. Nicholas, I would go Jonathan Taylor. It's a good matchup, and he's coming off a great game, so he has all the momentum in the world. HFD Marcos, do you see a question from him? I'm not seeing his question. Now, J Bone has a question. Help a brother out in the championship. Flex McConkey, Jennings, Ford, or Edwards? I would go McConkey, but let me just see sort of what the experts pick on these guys. I mean, they're picking Ford? Okay. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, Juwan. Yeah, let's just see. Against Miami. Miami against the run, though, is not. Miami's number 7 against the run. McConkey at 11. New England against passing. Oh, the Patriots are tough against. No, it's the Titans. Hold on. The Patriots. Oh, I can never find it. This is what takes me long. Where are the Patriots? Oh, the Patriots are number 1 against wide receivers. So that's probably why they're not picking Ladd. They also have Gus Edwards over Ladd. They actually have Jerome Ford, then Gus Edwards, then Ladd McConkey. I can see where they don't have Juwan Jennings. I have no problem with that. He's inconsistent. I wouldn't want to do that to anybody in the championship game. But Ford against Miami and Edwards plays New England, obviously. New England against the run. Yeah, the Patriots are 30th against the run. So technically speaking, Gus Edwards has the best matchup. I mean, if you're talking about matchup, and when it comes down to this time of the season or playoffs, it matchups do matter a lot. Okay, they really do. And as much as I don't like going against Ladd McConkey, I would say Gus Edwards. He is a much more favorable matchup going up against the Patriots defense against running backs. They're 30th. They give up 25.4 points. The other two have much tougher matchups. One going up against number 1, one going up against number 9. So I would go actually Gus Edwards. The experts picked Jerome Ford, probably based on last week. But let me tell you, if they have DTR in as a quarterback, I don't know if that defense is going to run at all very well. So that's why also I wouldn't pick Jerome Ford. I'm not sold that offense can go up against Miami for a full game. So I would go Gus Edwards. It's a really good matchup for him. Your thoughts, Nathaniel? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm telling you right now, last week I had 3 teams in the playoffs. I lost one because my team was just totally weak. I was lucky to make the playoffs. But in another one, I had a very middling team, but I had all my players had matchups against teams in the 20s or higher. And I won that game. And I was in 4th place. They took the top 4. I played the number 1 seed and I beat them. Now, I know part of this is luck, part of this is, some sort of strategy. But what I wanted to do was go up against the easiest matchups. And I did that. And that's why I would pick Gus Edwards right now. Out of the names, out of the 4 names, I'm looking at 3 right now. I just have Ladd, Gus, and Jerome Ford up on my screen, but I would go Gus Edwards because of that. And Nathaniel, you're going Gus or you going Ford or Ladd? Okay, so we have a sort of a split decision here. I'm saying Gus Edwards based on the matchup. Nathaniel's saying Ladd. The experts all pick Jerome Ford. So pick your poison here. I really like the matchup against Gus Edwards, and I believe. Let me just check before we move on to make sure that Edwards is playing and all that other fun stuff. Yeah, rushed 14 times for 68 yards, 2 touchdowns, brought in 1. Okay. Edwards rookie backfield mate Kamari Vidal carried just 5 times. Yeah, so even he got 14 carries. I think Gus is clearly the number 1. And he'll be the lead back. So I'm going Gus Edwards. Nathaniel's going Ladd. The experts pick Jerome. So J Bone, have at it. Again, I think it comes down to matchups, and I think Edwards has a really good one. Now, Herbert could be throwing the ball. There's no doubt about that. But I think Edwards probably gets 10 to 15 carries and gets a good amount of points. All right, let's jump back to Dre's, my man Dre's, who's in the Waluigi outfit. I think it is. He's got Kittle and Brock Bowers. Boy, Bowers is just a machine. He is just a machine. That guy. Let's see. No, he's on. Yeah, he's on TikTok. George Kittle and Brock Bowers. Draze. They're picking Brock Bowers against New Orleans. I would say the same thing. Kittle goes up against Detroit. The defense is a lot tougher than that New Orleans defense. We saw it last night. I go Brock Bowers. The experts say Brock Bowers. What do you think, Nathaniel? Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. 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 Okonkwo, yeah, I just for some reason he's putting up some points and he seems to be a good target for the team. Let's go with Moreno right here. He has Ravens defense, Chiefs defense, Texans defense. I actually think the Chiefs defense, but let's see what I'm going to look up the experts. I know you do too. Ravens, Chiefs, and Texans. So that's a Christmas Day matchup. Yeah, the experts pick Kansas City. Yeah, I plan to. I want to. I just gotta make sure with my family it's okay. But yeah, um, they're picking Kansas City. See, I think Kansas City playing Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh scores enough. The experts pick Kansas City. I'm picking Kansas City. What do you think, Nathaniel? No. Yeah, and they're not scoring a lot, and that helps defenses out. Pickens is back. Now, is he fully recovered? Is he partially recovered? Or are they gonna, play him normal? Their offense just does not look good. They don't really have Najee Harris is a good running back, but he doesn't put up many points. Jalen Warren puts up some points, you know, maybe not as many as Najee some weeks. They just don't really have much of a running game, and they don't really have much of a receiving core outside of Pickens, kind of. And Fryermuth is a good tight end though, but if you put a few people on Fryermuth and you target Pickens, you kind of can shut them down. Plus, I know they're going to put. I mean, I know Spagnuolo, like he did at least in the last week against the Texans, he's going to put some pressure on Wilson at some point, like he did against Stroud in the second half. So, yeah, I would go Kansas City. I mean, look, say what you want about Kansas City. They're winning by luck. They're not winning they don't dominate teams. They've only lost one game. Now, yes, it was against Buffalo, but, let's see how they do in the playoffs. I mean, you win every game except one. You're a pretty good team. I don't care what your average points of difference are. All right. Okay. Kyler or Herbert this week in the championship? Kyler or Herbert? Let's look that up. I'll let you start on this one. Wow. That, yeah. Okay. Yeah, the experts pick Murray. Let me just look at what Murray's been doing. 21, 10, 20. Okay, so 2 of the last 4 weeks, he's gotten over 20. Herbert has 23, 14, 13, 8. Ugh. Has he played New England already? He hasn't. What? No, oh, they're not in the same. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Um, 23, 14, 13, 8. Yeah, I guess I would go. Well, let's see. Okay, the Rams and the Patriots against quarterbacks. Let's look that up. The Rams are 26. The Patriots are second. So it's a better matchup for Murray. And so for that reason, I would go Murray. I'm telling you right now, guys, matchups in these championship games mean a lot. And Murray going up against the Rams not being very good against quarterbacks is a big deal. They're 26. They give up 23.6 points as opposed to the Patriots, which I said are number 2. They give up 17.2. So it's a huge difference. It's 6 point swing. So yeah, I would go with Kyler Murray based on that alone. All right, thank you, Moreno. Let's go with Misbah Sheik. What about Mixon? Does he continue regressing? Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about Mixon right now that I don't love is he's not been putting up points. Last week he went up against Baltimore, which is fairly tough still against the run. He goes up against Kansas City. Wait, he went up against Kansas City. Now he goes up against Baltimore. Sorry about that. And I think that's not going to be good for him. I mean, both Kansas City and Baltimore are tough against the run, and I don't think he puts up points. I don't necessarily think. Well, I mean, it depends on what you mean by regressing, but I don't think he gets to 13 points because Tank Dell's out. Now, what I read earlier this morning was some people think that Mixon will be part of the receiving, catching the ball a little bit more because Tank Dell's out. But how are you going to work that in? Plus, Baltimore's still good against running backs in general. So there's going to be a focus on him. I just don't think Mixon gets over 13 points. I just don't. I think it's a tough matchup for him. Any thoughts, Nathaniel? Okay, same person asks, Ford, would you start Ford over Mixon? Well, if Jameis Winston was the quarterback, this would be an easy decision. I would start Ford over Mixon. With DTR as the quarterback with Cleveland, and what did I say? They're playing Miami. Is that it? Yeah, they're playing Miami. Miami against running backs. Let me just go back over this. They're number 7 against running backs, so he doesn't have a favorable matchup. And the quarterback is awful. I mean, I was at the game last week. He was awful. He had a couple decent plays, but when he moved the ball, guys, he was making passes. I mean, Ford ran the ball 60 yards on the first play of the game, but after that, he didn't have that many more yards rushing. A few here, 3 or 4 there, 3 or 4 here. And when DTR passed, it was 3 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards. He wasn't throwing anything over like 10 yards. And if he was, they were either ill, like there was coverage, or they were awful, like nobody could have caught it. So I just don't think it's hard for me to say start Mixon over anybody at this point because he's been doing bad, but I would consider still keeping Mixon over Ford. Now, somebody asked, should I start Mixon over Chase Brown? I would not do that. I would start Chase Brown over Mixon. Mixon's not putting up the points. And let me just see. Did we have this question? Okay, your thoughts, Nathaniel, on Mixon and Chase Brown and all these guys. Yeah, I'd go Chase Brown over Mixon. I would agree with that. They go up against Denver. Denver against the run. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting, but Denver against the run is 20th. So I would go Chase Brown. Go ahead, Nathaniel. I jumped in. Okay. Hand Dog asked, do I trust, and he sent to Rose, do I trust James Conner with this injury? Here's the thing. It wasn't with you, Hand Dog, but somebody was sending me DMs on TikTok about this James Conner injury, and he was like worried about it, who to start. The one thing, if you're worried about James Conner and the injury, you might want to pick up Carter, who's I think number 3 on their depth charts. It looks like Trey Benson's not going to be able to play. It looks like James Conner probably won't play because what I'm reading is that they'll probably save him and not risk the injury with only 2 games left in the season. Now, if James Conner goes, if he's able to go, rather, start him. But it looks like Arizona's probably going to like quietly shut him down for the season with only 2 games to go. And so you might be better off getting someone like this. I'll just look. Carter, who is on there. Let me look up the depth charts for Arizona. He is, no, that's tight ends. Duh. What? Arizona. Why did I get San Francisco? Oh, I see. Yeah, Arizona. It's Michael Carter. They're saying Michael Carter will probably get the start. So if you have Conner and you're worried about it, it looks like he's probably not going to play. I'll just repeat myself. Looks like he's not going to play. And it looks like Michael Carter will probably start for Arizona. So you might want to put him in, but please do double check and make sure Connor is officially out for that game. All right. Pick 2. Here we go. Ford, Gus, Tracy, Dottle. Ford, Gus, Tracy, Dottle. Pick 2. This is from Jackson. You got it, Nathaniel? You want to start? Ford, Gus. Oh, Nathaniel's jumped off. Okay, Nathaniel. Ford, Gus, Tracy, Dottle. Pick 2. Okay. What are you doing? I'm getting a lot of are you scratching your microphone? Okay. I would really look. I would definitely start Gus Edwards because as I said earlier, he has a good matchup. All right. And Tracy actually against Indianapolis. Let me double check this. Oh, come on, computer. Shoot. Okay, here we go. The Colts are a much better matchup than Philadelphia. Dottle plays Philly. Edwards plays New England, which is, like I said, like 24th or something. Tracy plays, but Tracy's still questionable, plays Indianapolis. They're number 14. And Jerome Ford plays Miami, and they are 7th. So the best matchups are really the players against the Colts and the Patriots, who are 30th. So I would go, based on matchups, I would go Edwards and see, I would go Tracy, but the only question is Tracy going to play? He's listed as questionable, I'm pretty sure. And if he doesn't play, then you have to think about getting Singletary. Let me just look him up real quick. Tracy. Any thoughts? We're picking 2 here, right? I believe. I think no. You said Dottle and Ford. I'm going actually Tracy or Edwards. Now the experts are picking Dottle or Edwards. So I would pick up Edwards definitely based on the matchup. Now Tracy is questionable. Rico Dottle is healthy. Rico goes up against a tough Philadelphia. They're like number 2. Tracy goes up against number 14 Indianapolis, a better matchup, but Tracy might not play. You might have to pick up Singletary. So it's not an easy decision to make. Like I would go if Tracy was healthy, I would go Edwards and Tracy. The experts picked Dottle and Edwards, and you picked Ford and who, Nathaniel? Okay. So I would go Gus and Tracy, but Tracy might not be able to play, and you got to make sure you can get Singletary for that matchup. If you can't get Singletary and Tracy doesn't play, then I would go with Dottle. I would go Gus and I would go Edwards and Dottle if you can't get Tracy or Singletary in his place. So I hope that helps. All right. Sweatshirts is here. Hey, Sweatshirts, what's going on? Sweatshirts. Any thoughts about Spears or Madison? Hope you're doing good. I'm doing well. Haven't talked to you in a while, Sweatshirts. Spears had a big game, but he did score 2 touchdowns, and I kind of have a big question mark when a player scores a lot based on the fact that they scored 2 touchdowns, like Ramondre Stevenson did, like 4 or 5 weeks ago. He had a couple of games where he put up 20 and 19 points, but they were both because he scored 2 touchdowns in those games. Lost this week by 2 points, playing for 3rd place. Well, that happens. I mean, in the championships, when you only play for a week, now my son had a championship and he played for 2 weeks, and that's pretty much, it's a little more fair. The only thing I don't like about that is they're playing in week 18. And I think week 18, you don't want to play a team because a lot of people sit. Like if you had Mahomes as a quarterback, he may play the first half. He may sit out that game because they had the first seed, and then you're trying to pick up Carson Wentz. But what if Wentz isn't any good? But let me look up Spears and Madison. Yes. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. Yep. Yep. All right. Now the experts are picking Tajay Spears going up against Jacksonville. Madison goes up against New Orleans. The thing about Madison is, well, he had 13 against Jacksonville. He plays New Orleans. I guess you could figure that he should get points. Okay, let's go Saints. Let me look up Saints versus Jacksonville against the run. The Saints against the run are 21st. Jacksonville, believe it or not, is 19th. So not a huge difference between them. 18.3 and 20.7. So it's actually like 2.4 points that the Saints are worse than Jacksonville. So let's see here. The Saints are, I mean, you could go Madison. The only thing, if you really drill down and look at Las Vegas, like the depth charts, let me just pull this up real quick. Depth charts by team, Las Vegas. If you look at Amir Abdullah, sorry, he had a good week the last couple of weeks. So they kind of have a two-headed monster going on with Madison. He's had 16 and 17 points the last 2 weeks. I would almost rather have Amir on the team because it looks like, well, you know what? He hasn't had a lot of touches. He gets more receiving yards. Okay, let's look him up against Madison. I bet you Madison carries the ball more. This is what we do on the channel here, guys. We really investigate. Madison has had 12 running plays last game, 7, and then when it comes to passing, he's targeted 7 and 4 times, where Amir has had targeted for or rushing attempts 7 and 3, but he's had 7 and 6 targets passing, and he's had a touchdown in both games, one receiving, one rushing last week. So, I mean, you're not talking about Amir. I don't even know if he's available. So let's just stick with, the players that we have. So I do like Madison. I worry that the points with Tajay Spears are all because of touchdowns. And if he doesn't score 2 touchdowns, he's not going to have a 20-point game. So that's my big worry because he had 2 rushing touchdowns and then 1 rushing and 1 receiving the last 2 weeks. He's only had 5 yards rushing, 27 yards rushing. Now he did have 87 yards receiving 2 weeks ago and 39. So, but I guess I would maybe go with Tajay Spears. I think this is a real flip 'em. Do you have any thoughts, Nathaniel? The experts picked Tajay Spears over Madison. I'm leaning that way. What do you think? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're all kind of leaning towards Spears on this one. So I guess try to go with Spears and plus the Raiders obviously have. Okay, so that's your lean to. Okay, good. Sweatshirts. It's close and nerve wracking. The Madison Amir Abdullah scares me too because Abdullah's been getting a lot of points compared to Madison. But I would go Tajay Spears. Pollard has not put up the points Tajay Spears has, and he's done it 2 weeks in a row. And they have another weak opponent in Jacksonville. So, all right, thank you, Sweatshirts. Good to have you stop by. Is ETN droppable for Ford since it's split with Bigsby? Yeah, I would drop ETN for Ford. I mean, not that I think Ford's going to have 20 points again, but I think Ford will put up more points than ETN. Even if DTR plays, I think Ford probably gets a minimum of 10 points, and ETN is lucky to even get double digits. All right. Jam asks, bench one, full PPR, BTJ, Malik, Mike Evans. Oh, we got a bench one, huh? Well, let's see. Let's see who are the better players. Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Evans. Yeah, I yeah, Neighbors. See, I was leaning towards Evans against Carolina and BTJ because he's been doing well and he plays Tennessee. Well, let's just see. Okay, Carolina versus wide receivers. They're 18th. Okay. New England against, or no, Tennessee. I'm sorry. Tennessee against wide receivers. They're better than I thought, aren't they? No. The Titans. Where are the Titans? Where are the Titans? Titans. Come on. It's like I can't read. Where are the Titans? Texans? Titans are 9th. So it's not a walk in the park for BTJ this week, but he has been the number one. It might be Neighbors and Evans. Hey, all right. Z's. Z's. Love it, Z's. Okay, in Indianapolis, the Colts, they're number 4. Ooh, okay. So I would go BTJ based on the matchup because it's a little. The Colts give up 15.6 to wide receivers. The Titans give up 20. That's 20.3. So it's almost 5 points difference. And then you have, yeah, I would go Evans and BTJ. Now the experts, they just pick one, but they say Evans. Let me take Evans out, and they say BTJ. Who do you say? So the experts and myself both pick Brian Thomas Jr. and Mike Evans. Who do you pick? Neighbors and Evans, Nathaniel? Okay. Who's the other? And you're picking Evans? No, no, we have to pick two. One to sit. Yeah, we're sitting one. I'm saying sit Neighbors. You're saying, and the experts say sit Neighbors. Who are you sitting? Oh, he's okay. I think I don't know what he is. I would go Evans and BTJ on that one. All right. Thank you, Z's. Yeah, I would start. All right, Z's. Thank you for the sub. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for the support. And guys, just to let you know, let me do a quick reset. Hit that like button, hit that follow button, so you know when I'm live. I'm gonna try to go live tomorrow, at least for a little bit of time before kickoff, so I can help you with any questions. I'll be live Thursday before kickoff. I'll be live Saturday before kickoff, probably Sunday before. Well, Saturday or Sunday I might not make it before kickoff, but the other day I'll make it. We're at 3,300. Let's try to get to 3,500 likes. Oh, Z sent 20 roses. Thank you, Z's. Appreciate that in the sub, of course. I'm looking to see if you had a new question or anything. Looks like, oh, wait, here we go. Hey, I'm back. Just got a question. Is Davante Adams? Yes, Davante Adams. Okay. So the Bills against wide receivers are 32nd in the NFL over the last 4 weeks. They give up 30.6. Adams is a great start. All right. Adams is a great start, Z's. Yeah. BTJ has a much tougher matchup, like a top 10 or 12 matchup, but the Bills are 32nd. So it is a fantastic matchup for Adams. I mean, on paper, he should have another. Well, I don't want to overhype it, but he could have over 20 points again. He should have at least 13 easy. He might have 13 at the half for all I know. But or we talked about this last week, I think, Nathaniel. My thought is like Rodgers wants to just have fun with his buddy Davante Adams, and they're thrown to he's thrown to him. He's giving them points. Who knows where they're going to be playing next year? Who knows if they're going to be on the Jets again? Whatever the case is, I mean, the guy's just getting monster points after monster points. So he clearly has been the best mid-season pickup, wide receiver wise. That is. There was a Deontay Johnson, there was a Amari Cooper, there were all even DeAndre Hopkins. Nobody has even come close now to Adams and the numbers he's putting up. So, yeah. Z's, yeah. I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to retire because I think he wants to go out on a higher note. I think he wants to show people that he's good. I mean, this season has really ruined his career. Well, not ruined his career, but put sort of a black mark on his career, if you will, or however you want to phrase it. Because here's a guy that's a future Hall of Famer. He's won a Super Bowl. He's put up these gigantic numbers, and I believe, and I'm not going to go through it right now because it would take up too much time, but he has less wins this season with him than last season without him. So the team actually has done worse with him at quarterback than they did last year. And I think that's telling. I don't think he wants to go out like that. But you never know. I mean, maybe there's injuries there. Maybe his thought is, hey, I've made my money. I don't need to keep doing this. If I go another year and I put up bad numbers, then it's 2 bad years, so. All right. Any thoughts there? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think. Sammy's 11 as Keenan or Marv. I would go Keenan. He's been putting up, Keenan Allen, I'm assuming he's been putting up really good numbers. So, oh, you're welcome, Z's. Thank you. I'd go Keenan Allen. Victor asked, pick 3, JJ, Ladd, Pickens, Keenan Allen. I would go JJ. Hold on. It just moved on me. I would go I can't ever say sit JJ, okay? Because he's an option. I would go JJ and Allen. The question is, do we do Ladd or Pickens? So that's who I'm going to put I'm going to put Ladd or Pickens in. Any thoughts on that? He's saying pick 3, JJ, Ladd, Pickens, or Keenan Allen. Has Nathaniel dropped off again? He has. All right. The experts are saying Ladd. They go, yeah, I think Pickens. I know you can throw against Kansas City, but I think Russell Wilson's going to have a tough day. I think Kansas City has gotten a little bit better against the pass. I would go with Ladd. He's been putting up good numbers. Oh, you know what though? Hold on one second. The Patriots are number 1. See, yeah, but the Patriots are number 1 against wide receivers. That's the only thing. The Chiefs. Where are the Chiefs? The Chiefs are 9th. No, not yet. Nothing. I don't think it's been cold enough. It was like 50 degrees yesterday. Let's see. Yeah, see, the Patriots are number 1. I don't like that matchup for Ladd. I don't. Let's see what the Patriots are, though, against quarterbacks, because the Patriots are number 2 against quarterbacks. Yeah, based on matchups, and matchups mean something this time of year, I would go Pickens. I think Ladd's been putting up good points. Well, let's see. He had 11, 14, 16, 11, 15. I mean, he'll be kind of lucky to get 11 against New England, as tough as they are, I think. He might be single digits, where Pickens against Kansas City, probably gets, if he scores a touchdown, he'll probably get 13 easy. So I would go Pickens on this one. And it's only based on matchups. I think McConkey's having a better season than Pickens, but the matchup is saying something different. So I'm going Pickens. The experts all pick McConkey. What do you think, between Ladd and Pickens? Because we've already said yes to JJ and yes to Keenan Allen. It's down between Ladd and Pickens. So who are you picking? Picking? Yeah. Okay. So Nathaniel and I say Pickens. The experts all pick. And when I say experts, it's like 20 guys, and they rank all the players, and they're saying Lad McConkey. Now, the one thing I'll say about them ranking players is, to me, there's sort of a bias with some of these guys who rank players, because what they'll do is they'll keep Drake London like in the top 20 week after week after week, or even in the top 15. And he's putting up 8 points, 9 points, 7 points, because they believe he's a really great wide receiver. They don't necessarily look at it based on, the points they've been putting up, or even sometimes the matchup. But the experts are picking Lad McConkey, but Nathaniel and I both picked Pickens. I lean towards Pickens because Kansas City is just a little bit worse than New England against wide receivers. All right, let's see. We got a bunch of people still on. Oh, here's a good one. Tamer, Okonkwo or Schultz? I'm leaning towards Okonkwo. He's had 2 good weeks in a row for a tight end. I'll see. So you're saying the same thing? Yeah. Yeah, he's been putting up good points. Now the experts pick Schultz. Okonkwo goes up against Jacksonville. Let's just look up the Ravens versus the Jags against tight ends. I just want to see what this is. Okay, the Ravens against tight ends are 15th. Jacksonville is tied for 15th. Yeah, the Ravens are tied for 15th. Jacksonville. I'd go Okonkwo. He's been putting up really good points week after week. So the experts picked Schultz. I think Chig Okonkwo is still sort of like, you still might be able to get him. I know you have him on your team, Tamer. I get that. But I think he's still on the waiver wire or a free agent for a lot of teams. People don't know the name as well. So I like Okonkwo. I was talking about him last week. I made a real stupid decision though, Nathaniel. I didn't tell you. At the last minute, I'm like, well, I did that. Oh my God, what if he doesn't do this? And I got freaked out and I chose another tight end who did horrible. And Okonkwo had that great game. And I'm like, I should have just trusted everything that I researched up until that point. And I do think Okonkwo right now, he's kind of quietly becoming, over the last, 2 games for sure, he's quietly becoming a really good tight end for that Tennessee offense. And he goes up against Jacksonville, and they're a team that everybody puts up good, well, not everybody, I guess, but oftentimes everybody offensively puts up good numbers against their defense. So yeah, Brenton Strange, man. Yeah, Strange, Tamer. Yeah, I agree. Brenton Strange has been strange. I mean, there's no doubt about that. He's not been where I think a lot of people liked him. Um, but like with okay, Brenton Strange. I'll just look him up real quick because I want to see his points over the last few weeks. You know, yeah, yeah. See, the thing that worries me, okay, and people do this because they watch other TikToks, they watch other videos, and some will say, "Oh my God, you got to play Brenton Strange." Brenton Strange in Week 15 against a weak Jets defense scored 12.8 points. Outside of that, the 4 weeks leading up to that, and obviously the week after, he hasn't gotten over 4 points. Okay, so watch out for those, like what I consider. And you guys, if anybody's older than my buddy Nathaniel, they'll recognize this. But he's kind of a one-hit wonder. He's like a one-game wonder. Like, oh, he put up a good point for a tight end, but then he falls back to 1.2 points. So that's why I like Okonkwo, because he's had 2 back-to-back weeks where he's put up good points. And I think he had 9.9, and then he had 17 or 20 or something like that. And so he's been putting up. Do I have him up someplace? Yeah, I'll just look him up real quick. Look. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, you know what you win? You win golf balls, free golf balls, baby. How about that? All right, there you go. I'll send you the golf balls. If you win, buddy, you're going to win. You have a great team. You've done well this year, very well. You have a powerhouse. I like your name too, by the way. I bring the boom. It's nice. But like but even like if you look at Okonkwo in week 12, he had 13.5, then he dropped down to 4.2, 2.3. Cincinnati had 9.9. That 13.5 is important because 3 weeks before that 9.9, he did get 13 against Houston. So he's had, in the last 5 weeks, 3 times he's gone over 7 points easily. So yeah, I would go with Okonkwo. All right, user 578 says pick three: Debo, Ladd, Sutton, DK, Garrett, Wilson. Okay, this one's tough. I would go Sutton. He didn't have a great week last week, but for the most part, he's pretty steady. DK, I don't necessarily like. Let me see what his points have been. JSN has been the guy. I mean, he's been the guy at Seattle. But I'll look up, where are we at here? Okay. I'll look up DK. No, yeah, well, he just asked one. It's fine. Oh, all in one. All right. All in one. Oh, the Mets? Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, wait. All in one. Oh, I missed some of. Okay. All in one. Are you still there? I don't even know if you're still. Kelsey's been underperforming. Yes. Also, would you start these tight ends? Schultz and Okonkwo. Did he come on the other one? Because that was the same question. I'd go Okonkwo, but I don't know if All in One is still on YouTube. Should I start Denver over these? Tampa, Saints, and Raiders. I would start Denver over them, over the Saints. The Saints defense isn't very good. Your brother asked Njoku or Kelsey. I'd go Njoku. He still had like 13 or 14 points last week, even with the bad quarterback. Yeah, DK Metcalf did have 13 points. Let me just see what question was I answering? Okay. Debo, Ladd, Sutton, DK. I would not do Garrett Wilson. If I'm picking three, I would go Ladd, Sutton, or DK. Ladd, Sutton, or DK on that one. Okay, Victor asks, should I start Mixon? Well, it depends on who you have. Mixon has not been putting up points at all over the last few games. I mean, he's been very disappointing because I have him on one of my teams, and I got to consider not even starting him. He's had 8 and 7. Now, he plays Baltimore this week, and Kansas City and Baltimore are very similar against the run. So I don't even know that Mixon gets double digits unless he scores a touchdown. They're not using him for touchdowns anymore, which is kind of bizarre. There for a while, he was getting good points, and a lot of it was because of the touchdowns. So, you know, against Baltimore, it's probably going to be a lot of passing. So, and they don't have Tank Dell. And is Mixon going to be part of the passing game a little bit more? He could be, which would be very helpful. Maybe if he could score a touchdown. So, if you think that Mixon might be more part of the passing, you could definitely do that. Okay, I'm going to jump back onto YouTube real quick. All in one is talking about defense. Okay, Denver over these. Well, let me just look them up real quick. So we got the Broncos. We got the Buccaneers. And you don't have four. There's no way you have four defenses. I'll look it up, but I know you don't have four defenses on your team. Or if you do, I would say you don't need all that. Okay. Yeah, I would go. Let me just see what they've been putting up points wise. Well, they haven't been putting up big points. The experts all picked Tampa Bay, but they had 1 point, 8 points, 10 points, 3 points. It's not a lot of points. Let's see what Vegas has been doing. 6. I would go Vegas, actually. What's Denver been doing? Denver 3, 20, 20, 10, 13. I mean, Denver has been putting up more points, but you're right. Against Cincinnati, they're going to be throwing the ball probably. But they have been putting up more points. I would go Vegas. New Orleans, I think, I would not do New Orleans after a -1. Now, Vegas doesn't have the offense Green Bay does. Let's just see. Against the Rams, they got 2 points. Against the Giants, they got 10. But the Giants are still a little bit worse than Vegas. Against Cleveland, they got 4. Yeah, I would start Las Vegas. I would start the Raiders all in one show. I would start the Raiders. Forgive me for saying Denver. I mean, you could start Denver. They've been putting up really good points, but I understand what you're saying against that offense. So to avoid the offense, I would go Las Vegas. All right. Aaron Blake is here, and where's his question? 10. Aaron Blake, thanks for the Okonkwo advice. Picked him up off waivers and got me 19. Yes. Okonkwo is like he's quietly not a lot of. I mean, maybe there's videos now, but people are talking about him. There's no doubt about that right now, but not many. So if he's available, I would pick him up. If you don't have a tight end to play, I would play him. He can put up points. Let's see. Did Aaron Blake have any other? Nope. He's just. Those definitely are the stories. Yep. Yeah. Well, and then I had, yeah, the Rodgers one was, you told me not to play Rodgers over Tua. I played Tua. Well, I even asked on the chat, like, who would you pick, Tua or Rodgers? And everybody said Tua. So, okay. Yeah. And Rodgers has regressed back. Like he's gone back to being bad again. So, all right. Judy or Ford? David Harris, I would go Ford because I don't think I was at the game last week, Cincinnati, Cleveland. The quarterback, if it's DTR playing as quarterback, if he starts, I would go Ford. If for some reason Winston plays, I would go Judy. Winston can throw, Judy will get a pass. If Winston doesn't start, you got to go Ford. Am I crazy for wanting to start Hollywood over Higgins? Yeah, you are crazy. Higgins has been putting up points. I mean, I hate to agree with you, but yeah, you're crazy. I mean, Higgins got injured, but he came back like the next possession. So Higgins been putting up points, man. I would not. They go up against Denver now. What's that? Oh, I don't think so. He's had 15, 17. He had 3 against Dallas, 15 against Pittsburgh, 25 against the Chargers. In his last 5 games, he's gotten over not 13, but over 15 points 4 of the last 5 weeks. And he goes up against Denver. Now, Denver earlier in the year, everyone said, oh, they have Surtain, blah, 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 blah. But Denver against wide receivers is 29th. They give up 26.7 points. I think Jamar Chase, I think Higgins will have good games. Now, one of them might have a 10 or a 13-point game. The other one might have a 20-point game. But they're going to have good games. And Chase seems to be the home run catcher, if you will, like 30 yards, 60 yards, 50 yards. He likes the big drama. He will pick up 7 to 8 yards, but Higgins is consistently 7, 8, 9, 10 yards every every pass up the middle, all those kinds of things. So I would definitely go Higgins. All right, we're at 3,900 likes on TikTok. Let's get to 4,000. Let's keep answering questions. I hope we're helping everybody out on YouTube, and if you're on Twitch, although I don't have much of a, I gotta build up Twitch and Instagram, but that's a problem for another day. All right, Texans or Ravens? I'm assuming you mean defense. I'm not trying to be mean, Andre. Andre SCGU. Texans or Ravens? Thoughts on that, Nathaniel? Why sort of Get my bearings. Texans or Ravens? Is Nathaniel there? Oh, okay. You're back. Okay. I would go. I think Baltimore puts up points. So I would go Baltimore's defense because I think they'll be able to shut down Houston better than Houston will be able to shut down Baltimore. So I would go Baltimore defense. If Hurts is out, do I play Bryce Young? If that's your only option, you probably have to. And Bryce, yeah. And let's see, they play Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay against quarterbacks, they're probably tough because they're 12th. So they're not. Tampa Bay over the last 4 weeks against quarterbacks averages 20 points. So Bryce Young could still have a pretty good day, give or take, I figure he'll get 18 to 22. So Bryce Young should still put up points. Now, he may not put up Jalen Hurts like 24, 25 points that he gets a lot, but he should get around 20, give or take 2 points. That would be my guess on that one. And you know that Mayfield, I mean, after losing last week, he's going to want to win, and he's going to be throwing the ball, and he's going to be throwing the ball to McMillan and Evans and probably Rachaad White and Bucky Irving out of the backfield and to, I don't know if Otten's playing or not, but he'll be thrown to a tight end somewhere. I mean, they got to win because right now I think, are they knocked out of the playoffs? Is that what it is? I can't remember. Standings. If I go to standings and then playoffs, I think. Yeah, playoff picture right now in the NFC. Tampa Bay is number 8, and they only picked the top 7, right? It's Detroit, Philadelphia, the Rams, the Falcons. Yeah, the Falcons have the tiebreak over the Buccaneers, so the Buccaneers have to win to get into the playoffs. So yeah, I would think that Mayfield comes out throwing. Am I for Diddy? You mean like P. Diddy? No, I'm not for Diddy. Your brother asked a very weird question there, Nathaniel. Free Diddy. Gabriel is now posting on YouTube free Diddy. So, all right, Bowers or McBride? Bowers or McBride? I'll let you start this one off. Brock Bowers or Trey McBride? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so who you picking? I would choose Bowers. The experts choose Bowers. So it's a consensus. Everyone here is picking Bowers, although it's a good problem to have. Let's just see the Saints and the Rams against tight ends. I'll just look it up. The Saints are 5th. The Rams are 9th. So actually, Bowers has a tougher matchup. But the difference in points, let me just tell you, the Saints give up 4.0, the Rams give up 5.7. So it's 1.7. It's not a huge difference. I would still go with Bowers, though. Like you said, he's just a machine. 15, 5, 6, 25, 5. I mean, he can always break off a 25, or some crazy huge number with Bowers. Let me just look up McBride, though, and see what he's been up to. Because Bowers hasn't been, yeah. McBride had. Oh, Gabe is back. Vikings or Chargers. There's our man Gabe. Gabe will be asking. Look, before that, he has CJ Stroud or Rogers. I mean, he loves the questions. Yeah, he is, and he has a question before that too. He has TJ Spears or Amir Abdullah to drop Kendre Miller. Look at this. I mean, he's got back to back. Yeah, our buddy. We got a regular Gabe. He's the Mets fan, which Nathaniel's a huge Yankees fan. That's an issue, obviously. But Gabe loves questions. We'll get to you, Gabe. I promise. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm thinking. I think that McBride actually has a little bit better matchup. So if you want a safe play, you could go with McBride and figure he gets you about 10 points. You could go with Bowers. He's been a little bit inconsistent. He had 15, but then before that, he had 5, he had 6, 25, 5. So he kind of gets you from 5 to 25. So if you want to take the risk and go with Bowers, you can. And he could get you 25, he could get you 5. If you go with McBride, he probably gets you somewhere. My guess is, well, he had 3.5 last week, but my guess is he probably gets you somewhere between 6 and 13. So the safe and steady bet is McBride. If you want to punch up and really try to get some points, I would go Bowers. I'm still leaning towards Bowers though. The experts are, and so is Nathaniel. Okay, Gabriel is asking, your brother's asking me, Israel or Palestine? We're not going there, dude. We are just not going there. Let's go with Gabe, our buddy Gabe, the Mets fan. Gabe, the Mets fan. Oh, wait, Aaron Blake, who did donate, has another question. So I got to jump to him first. Gabe, Gabe, if you donated, I would go to you, but I'm going to go to Aaron Blake. I have Higgins sitting. CD, Brian Thomas, and Adams playing. What do you think? Okay, well, let me see who CD plays. I would maybe consider going Higgins over Brian Thomas because of matchups. Let me just do Lamb compared to Thomas. Play Adams, Lamb, Thomas, and Higgins. I'll look up. Okay, now the experts say Lamb, although they're playing Philadelphia. Philadelphia against passing. What are they, second? Nope, I'm thinking of running. Philadelphia is 16, so they're middling at best. Brian Thomas has a tougher matchup against Tennessee, believe it or not. The Titans are 9th. All right. And last but not least, Higgins. Denver's 29th. I would go Adams. I have Higgins sitting. I would go Adams over. Oh, now I'm all confused. I would go Adams and Higgins. And then I would go, and then CD Lamb. I would go Adams, Higgins, and Lamb. I would sit Brian Thomas based on the matchup because his matchup is a little bit tougher than the other three. But Higgins has a good matchup. And you know they're going to get points. I mean, Higgins is pretty steady. Oh, Stephen Murphy's here. Hey, Stephen. We'll still get to you, Gabe, Mets fan. Cup or Moore? Oh, that's a bad one, dude. I would probably go Moore. Cup has not been putting up points, Gabriel. All right. Where did Stephen Murphy go? What's up, Sidelines? Hey, Hand Dog. You were on earlier, right? Did Stephen Murphy have a question, or is he just being super nice? He gave us a tiny diny. Looks like he's being nice. Oh, no, here's this question. Henry or Kyren? I'm in the championship, but it's this week and next week combined. Okay, let's just see. Kyren or Henry? Yeah, go ahead. I think they might. Well, they'll be probably playing for their division because aren't they? Well, let me just look this up. Yeah, they have because right now the Steelers won the division and they have the tiebreak over Baltimore. They're 10-5 and Baltimore's 10-5. So they pretty much, if Baltimore can overtake Pittsburgh as the division leaders, I believe they get at least a home game. So they'll probably be wanting to play. So yeah, I would lean towards Henry. Let me see here. Yeah, the experts pick Henry going against Houston. Okay, so Kyren plays the Cardinals, Houston, and Henry plays the Texans against the run. Cardinals and Texans. The Cardinals are 27th. The Texans are 5th. So the Texans are actually tougher against the run than the Cardinals. So if it's based purely on matchup, Kyren actually has the better matchup. Although I have a hard time saying I just do kind of in general. Now, Henry did get 19.9 points against the Steelers, and they're 10th, and they averaged 15.8 points over the last 4 weeks. So I'm probably going to go with Henry here. They have to win. He had 19 points against the Steelers. They're ranked 10th, and they give up on average 15.8. So he went above and beyond that. And Houston, like I said, is 5th, and they give up 13.6. So my guess is, he could still get 15 points. Kyren has Arizona. Okay, Jets, San Francisco, Buffalo, New Orleans. New Orleans isn't good. Buffalo. What's that? Was he sent a dolphin. Hey, Steven, thank you for the dolphin. I'll get the hand. Yeah, I would go Derrick Henry. The experts go Derrick Henry, but Williams has a little bit better matchup because the Cardinals, as I said, I don't even remember now. Cardinals are 27th. Wow. So if you're going matchups, I would go Kyren Williams. Yeah, if you're going pure matchups, I would go Kyren Williams. The experts pick Derrick Henry. I am going to tell you that matchups do matter to this time of year. So for this week, I'm hoping you can change between weeks, but for this week, I would strongly consider Williams. He's been putting up very good numbers, 19, 12, 22, 17 the last 4 weeks. Henry has not been as consistent, 19, 6, 12.6, 14. So Kyren's actually been playing better over the last 4 weeks. I would go with Kyren because he's been playing better and because he is a better matchup. The experts pick Henry. Nathaniel, what say you? Okay. So we have 2 Henrys and me. I'm the outlier saying Kyren. Stephen Murphy says, should I start Kyren over Bucky or Chase Brown? They've been really consistent for me the last 4 weeks. Bucky, Chase, or Kyren? Well, I'll just see. I mean, Bucky probably puts up a good amount of points, but it is a tougher matchup for him. And Chase Brown. Yeah, the experts pick Kyren. Chase Brown has Denver. Denver against the run is 20th. So they're not very good. Still, though, Kyren has a better matchup with the Cardinals. They're 27th. They give up 22.9. The Broncos give up 20.6. So it's about a 2-point difference still with Kyren. So I would still go with Kyren based on matchups. And Irving goes up against Carolina. Carolina is 29th. So if anything, Bucky Irving has a good matchup. My only fear, though, is with okay, let's break it down real quick. Bucky still sort of splits, not sort of, he still splits carries with Rachaad White. So he doesn't get all the points the way Chase Brown and Kyren Williams do at this point. And for that reason, I would still pick Kyren Williams. It's close enough between the Cardinals and Carolina. Let me just say the Panthers give up 25.1, the Cardinals give up 22.9. So say 23 to 25, it's 2 points, but you figure you have to split time with Rachaad White to a certain extent. I would still go with Kyren Williams based on the matchup. Any thoughts on that one? Benjamin on yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. So we're all saying Kyren on this one. Experts, myself and Nathaniel. On YouTube, Benjamin asks, is it unreasonable to drop Pacheco? No, I would drop Pacheco. He's not putting up any numbers. Why keep him on your bench? Okay, James Conner, cause of the injury, or do you think he'll play, or James Cook? All right. Here's the thing. It looks like James Conner, from what I read before I got on live, it looks like James Conner isn't going to play, and Michael Carter probably will get the start for the Cardinals. All right. Now, Carter could be good. He could be bad. that unseen, unknown worries me. Now, I was talking with somebody this morning that was worried about Connor, was willing to pick up Carter in his stead and think that he would put up points. If you're willing to do that, go ahead and do that. But just know that he's an unknown quantity. Oh, Gabe, I can't, bro. Nah, what's up? Are you talking to Gabe? Ask your mom to let you donate. Oh, yeah, he can't donate. Okay. All right. Thank you, though, for asking him. That was good. All right. Let's. Oh, I got to do a puzzle. I got to do a TikTok puzzle. I hate that in the middle of the stream because yeah, it's always at 90 minutes in. Okay, Gabe, we'll get to you, Gabe. I promise. We love you, Gabe. Okay, hand dog. Here's the thing with James Conner. He probably isn't going to play from what I read. Michael Carter will probably play. If you have Cook, and it sounds like you do, because you're saying you do. Yeah. Well, Cook plays the Jets, and they still want to try to probably. I think Cook plays this week. I would start Cook. Like, I wouldn't even worry about Conner. I would start Cook. He plays the Jets. The Jets against the run are probably they're 10th, but they give up 15.8. Even if Cook gets 13, that could be better than anything Conner or his understudies do. So I would start James Cook. All right, let's see here. Sammy 2-1. Addison, Garrett Wilson, or Lamb. I would probably go Lamb because he's a known quantity. Addison's a little all over the place. He's a good player, don't get me wrong, but a little inconsistent is all I'm saying. I'll look them up though. Wilson, Addison, and Lamb. What do you think, Nathaniel? Yeah, I would agree with that definitely. I would go CD Lamb. I know they're playing Philly, but Philly against wide receivers is not where they were at one point this season. They're at 16. They give up 21.7, and CD Lamb and Cooper Rush, they clearly have chemistry. I mean, CD Lamb had what 14 points, and then he came. Well, the only thing about CD Lamb though is he has that bad shoulder, and so he could he was taken out of the last game. The one thing about Addison, though, is 12 points, 9.8, 35, 7, 26, 13. Like, he's a little inconsistent and he's kind of like all or nothing almost, like 26 points, 35 points, or then in between you get 7, you get 9. So for that reason, I would go CD Lamb. I don't know what they're playing for, though. That they've been knocked out, but he did it last week. He had I want to say 14 points. Yeah, 14, 22, 18. Yeah, I'd go CD Lamb. Now, if it's next week, if I'm determining things next week, it's going to be, what are they? I go right to what you're saying, Nathaniel. What are they playing for? What do you think about Lamb, Addison, and Wilson? You talked about Wilson. I agree with you. But what about Addison versus Lamb? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Everybody says Lamb, so you heard it from us. All right. Gabe, Mets fan, because we're all caught up on gifting. Vikings or Chargers? Obviously, he means defense. Vikings or Chargers? Yeah, we've answered every question about his team every week. You're right. Okay, Vikings. Oh, I can't spell today. My computer keeps. Vikings or Chargers? Let's just see. The experts pick the Chargers. Let's just see what they've been doing every week, though. 2-1-4-9. Oh, they don't put up any points. Minnesota, I would go Minnesota. At least they put up 6, 8, 7, 5, 7, 11, 13. The Chargers, you look at them. I mean, I know they're going up against New England, but Against Denver, 2. Against Tampa Bay, 1. Now, Tampa Bay scores a lot. Against Kansas City, 4. Against Atlanta, 19. 0 against Baltimore. 3 against Cincy. Against Tennessee, they got 8. So maybe they can, but I just don't like the 2 and the 1 and the 4. Like I said, at least with Minnesota, you're getting 6, 8, 7, 5, 7. They're averaging a higher number every week. So I would go Minnesota. The experts pick the Chargers. What do you say, Nathaniel? Nathaniel? All right. Well, I'm saying Minnesota. Experts say Chargers. Nathaniel, Vikings or Chargers defense for our Mets fan, Gabe? All right, so you got 2 Vikings, and the experts pick the Chargers. Sammy D, 21, Addison, Garrett Wilson, or Lamb. We sort of all did we answer this one? I would go Lamb in the flex. No Garrett Wilson. He's not. He's clearly not the number 1 there at all. Rodgers favors Adams, and Addison has been inconsistent. All right, let's see. Wyatt Cooper asked Terry McLaurin or Brian Thomas Jr. I would go McLaurin, but because he went up against Philadelphia and still had a good week. So that's why I'm going McLaurin, but let me just see. And Thomas actually has a relatively tough. Oh, okay. So the Falcons versus the Titans against wide receivers. The Falcons. Oh, come on, man. I can't see anything. And I mean, it's not because I can't see. The Falcons. Where the heck are the Falcons? I can always find the Falcons. Oh, the Falcons are 21st. And Tennessee, the Titans are 9th. So I would go with McLaurin. He's a much better matchup than Brian Thomas. And he did put up good points against Philadelphia last week. He had 12, which is pretty good considering they have a pretty good defense. And 19 against New Orleans, 19 against Tennessee, 16. He's been pretty consistent. The time he played Philadelphia first, he only had 1 point. Then he had 12 last week. So he's doing well. And it's a better matchup against Atlanta. What do you think, Nathaniel? All right. I would go with McLaurin. I don't know. My buddy Nathaniel's been all over the place. Actually, guys, I've been on for like an hour 37. I'm probably going to jump off. I might be back on later today. Maybe. I don't know. Because it's already almost 3:00 and I got to go to Christmas Eve event, but I'll be on tomorrow at some point before the games. So definitely hit that follow and subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok. So take care, everybody. Oh, okay. What's that? I would go more. Debo's been a little inconsistent. Well, let's just see. Did you look this up? Debo. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. 60-40. Seattle against wide receivers. The Seahawks versus Detroit. The Seahawks against wide receivers are 23rd. And the Lions, oh, they're worse. They're 27th. So it's actually bigger for Debo, but Debo, I think, has been 18-1, 3, 0, 2, 2. Like, I don't like the numbers Debo's been putting up, but at least DJ Moore has 7, 7, 4. Oh, he's 4.9, 15, 19. Let's see. I'm going to go to the quarterbacks. The Lions versus the Seahawks against quarterbacks. The Lions are last against quarterbacks. So I would go Debo Samuel because I think Purdy's going to be able to throw. I'd go Debo Samuel because the Lions are so bad against quarterbacks. All right, everybody. I'm going to hit the road. Take care. Have a great day. I might go on, but I probably won't. I have too much to do. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Nathaniel. Have a